It's Canada's 150th birthday, and for the next several months, we Canadians are celebrating 150 years of Confederation.
And you can't talk about the Catholic Church's contribution to Canada over the past 150 years without looking at these 5 interesting facts that make Canada uniquely Catholic.
Interesting fact number 1, the Catholic Church was in Canada even before Canada was officially a country.
Really?
Oh yes, in fact, the story of the Catholic Church in Canada actually begins about 330 years before Confederation, when the first Mass celebrated on Canadian soil took place on the shores of Quebec in July of 1534 by a French priest accompanying Jacques Cartier. Now, that would be Jacques Cartier, the French explorer, Emily, not Jacques Cartier, the fashion designer.
Yes, of course, I knew that. Okay, well, here's one for you, Smarty Pants.
Okay.
So, we all know that in the early days of the church in Canada, the main focus was to evangelize the Indigenous peoples. And we've all heard of the famous Canadian martyrs that were killed in Ste. Marie among the Hurons. But did you know that they weren't the first martyrs in Canada?
All right, I can see where you're going with this.
This leads us to our interesting fact number 2. Canada's first martyr was actually Father Nicolas Viel. Like the Jesuit Canadian martyrs, Father Nicolas was a French Recollect Franciscan missionary to the Huron peoples of Ontario. He was deliberately drowned in the Ottawa River in June of 1625, which happened a whole 17 years before the first Jesuit Canadian martyr, Saint René Goupil, was killed in 1642.
How about this interesting fact number 3? As of today, Canada can boast about having 14 saints on its Catholic celebrities list. Some of them include the first Bishop of Quebec, Saint Francois de Laval, Saint André Bisset of Montreal, famously known as God's doorkeeper, and the Lily of the Mohawks, Saint Kateri Tekakwitha. Now, in addition to that, we also have 9 other Canadians who are in the official process of becoming a saint. But for those names, you are going to have to check out our website listed below.
Okay, so now we've come to our interesting facts number 4 and 5. Did you know that Canada was visited by 2 saints on a few different occasions? And one of these saintly visits raised millions of dollars for a leprosy clinic in India, while another became the genesis of Canada's first coast-to-coast Catholic television station. Saint Teresa of Calcutta, before she was a saint, obviously, visited St. Paul, Alberta in 1982 to receive a gift from the diocese, a house built by volunteers. It was a fundraiser, and the house was sold to help build a health clinic in India. Interestingly enough, the people that first bought it returned it as a gift, and it was sold again. In fact, it was resold a few times, with each new buyer donating it back to the charity. In the end, the sale and resale raised close to $1 million.
Yes, and it was in 1984 that St. John Paul II took Canada by storm with a whirlwind tour of the country that inspired millions. He visited again in 1987 to fulfill a promise that he made to the Aboriginal peoples of the North, and he came back yet again 15 years later in 2002 for the World Youth Day in Toronto. And it was from that event that sprung forth Canada's first Catholic television network, Salt and Light TV.
And there you have it, folks. 5 interesting facts about Catholic people and Catholic moments in Canadian history.